Hello, and welcome to our first virtual beneficiary orientation for the Crystal Charity Ball. I'm Leslie Deers, and I have the privilege of serving as chairman of the Crystal Charity Ball for 2021. For over 68 years, Crystal Charity has been focused on improving the lives of children in Dallas County. With the current condition in which we all find ourselves, our organization remains as committed as ever to work diligently in raising funds to make our community stronger, safer, and healthier for the children your agency serve. Thank you for joining us today in our new orientation format. And for this, I would like to thank Shelly Slater and Shelly Slater Strategies for their help and generosity in the production of this video training. If you have not done so already, it may be helpful to you to become acquainted with our application before moving forward with the video. A copy of the application, along with other important information regarding our deadlines, charity selection calendar, and requirements, can be downloaded from our website at www.crystalcharityball.org under the tab Apply for Funding. In a moment, you will hear from Susie Jakir, our Charity Selection Chairman for 2021. Susie is the perfect person to lead our process at this time. As a longtime member of Crystal Charity and our Charity Selection Committee and a dedicated community volunteer, she has a deep understanding of both our guidelines and the immense critical needs we are facing in Dallas. If you have applied to us for funding in the past, there are a few changes that we are making this year, starting with this virtual beneficiary orientation. In particular, we are aware that COVID has put a lot of pressure on our partner agencies to meet the increase in demand for your proven successful programs. And so this year, to respond to this unprecedented challenge, Crystal Charity will also consider applications from agencies that support the growth of existing programs that are successfully meeting the overwhelming needs created by the pandemic, as well as our usual consideration of your new programmatic offerings. There will also be some adjustments to scheduling, meeting location sites, and agency presentations, which will be dependent upon evolving CDC guidelines as we move into 2021. We will keep you updated in the coming months as we move forward through this process. Please know how much respect the members of the Crystal Charity Ball have for the work you are performing on the front lines every day and the positive impact you are having on the lives of children in Dallas County. And now I will turn the meeting over to Susie.
Thank you, Leslie. I could not have a better partner to work with in the charity selection process. It is our hope that these few minutes together will prove helpful to you in making decisions about submitting an application for 2021 Crystal Charity Ball funding. Do know that we consider you our heroes because of the work you do to bring the chance for a better life to the neediest children in Dallas County. And we are honored to be a part of this process with you. For those of you new to Crystal Charity, a little bit about us. We are a group of 100 volunteer women supported by 2 paid staff and 1 part-time staff member. We work year-round to raise funding to support your work, and since 1952, we have distributed more than $157 million to the children of Dallas County. We raise funding in a variety of ways, including underwriting, a silent auction, the children's book, and serving as volunteer grant writers for each year's selected charities. Charity selection, which launches today, is a 6-month process culminating in February 2021, involving approximately 1/3 of our membership. This is an exciting time for us as we are able to work with you on these worthwhile projects that bring hope to the children of Dallas. My goal today is to help to clarify our process and answer your most frequently asked questions. Keep in mind that each year is a fresh start with no priority given to agencies that have applied before, been funded before, or those who are first-time applicants. First, your agency must be primarily concerned with and/or provide programs that address the care, welfare, and well-being of children in Dallas County. Number 2, you must have a 501c3 designation and IRS determination letter for at least 3 years, dated prior to November 2017. The services for which you are seeking funding must have been provided within Dallas County for a minimum of 3 years. Number 4, you must have been serving children in Dallas County for a minimum of 3 years. Number 5, you must have a signed audit report dated no more than 18 months prior to this year's application deadline of October 16, 2020. You must have a local governing board of directors that has oversight over any Crystal Charity Ball funding. Number 7, you must be willing to place a Crystal Charity Ball member on your board of directors in an ex officio capacity for the length of the grant period. And number 8, you must refrain from applying again for Crystal Charity Ball funding if selected as a beneficiary until at least 1 year has passed after your grant is completed. Next, I want to cover the most frequently asked questions. Number 1, what is Crystal Charity looking for in a beneficiary or project? Here's what we're looking for: stable and sustainable agencies with local governance serving children in Dallas County in meaningful and life-changing ways. Large established agencies or smaller, newer agencies at the very least 3 years old with proven financial accountability. Agencies with active and engaged boards of directors that support and will oversee the project seeking funding. Projects that are easy to articulate to our donors in a clear, concise, and compelling manner. And finally, projects that have a specific plan in place for demonstrating measurable results. Our overall goal is to have a profile of projects that serve children in the areas of education, health, social services, and the arts. The second most asked question is how many agencies will be funded and what will the total amount be? The selection process is a blind vote by our membership. The total amount and number of agencies funded will depend on how the mix of projects falls into place and where we want to set our fundraising goal. Obviously, this is a very unusual year, and we will continue to evaluate the current fundraising climate before setting a final goal. What differentiates Crystal Charity is that we select our beneficiaries and then commit to raise the funds. Selection as a beneficiary is not a guarantee for funding, but a commitment to partner with us to raise funds for 2021. Finally, our most frequently asked question: how much should we request? In the most recent years, our sweet spot has been between $500,000 and $1 million. However, with those numbers in mind, use your best judgment in requesting an amount. Typically, the largest asks are part of a capital campaign and should not be combined with programming in order to have a very specific ask when we apply to foundations. Additionally, if you are asking for capital funding, including land purchase, building, renovation, there are very specific guidelines listed on page 5 of the application, and these must be answered completely in order to be considered. The questions include zoning, building, renovation, permits, etc. Please consider your agency's size when asking for funding. We most likely will not choose projects that will be a substantial portion of your operating budget. For example, if your agency's annual budget is $1 million, don't ask for programming of $500,000 for 3 years. We do not have an exact percentage guideline. What we are looking for is assurance your agency is prepared to handle the growth of the new funding and will be successful in administrating the Crystal Charity Grant. As Leslie previously mentioned, many of your agencies have had substantial growth in programming this year because of COVID-19, and you can consider asking for funding for a successful existing program that the pandemic has overwhelmed. Or if COVID-19 has caused you to institute a new program that fits your core mission, that is certainly acceptable also. This is an overview of what we will be looking for in agency projects. Please note, If you cannot easily address the previous points in your request, ask yourself if this is the right project or the right time to apply for funding. Next, I would like to go over our current timeline. Applications are due no later than noon on Friday, October 16. You may mail or hand deliver your application and attachments to the Crystal Charity Ball office. The address is on page 1 of the beneficiary application found on our website, www.crystalcharityball.org. We cannot accept emailed applications. I highly recommend submitting a few days prior, since any unforeseen delays like weather, slow mail, traffic snarls, a sick grant writer, or broken printers will not be accepted. We want you to make it on time, so please plan ahead. Be sure that you have included all the attachments listed in the checklist on the last page of the beneficiary application. You must submit 1 executed original with 4 copies, 5 total. Include all attachments on the checklist, collated with each application copy. Use only rubber bands, no binders, binder clips, notebooks, or spiral binding will be accepted. Beginning on October 17th, we will conduct an initial review. All applications that are incomplete, not properly executed, or do not meet our stated criteria will be eliminated at this time. Only those who were eliminated will be notified. In November, our review committee will conduct a more in-depth evaluation of the applications, including an independent financial review conducted by our longtime and generous partner, Deloitte. Some requests may be released at this point. Only those who are released will be notified, and if you are released, you will be notified by November 12th. In January, we officially began the charity selection process with the full committee. Please understand that all dates henceforth are subject to change, and if there are any calendar changes, you will be notified by email. We ask our researchers to conduct site visits early in January, between January 7th and 8th. You will receive a call to set up a site visit. All site visits must be completed by January 15th. Please mark your calendars and be prepared for a call from your assigned researcher. After completing their site visits, our researchers will prepare detailed reports to present to the Charity Selection Committee on January 20th and 21st. You will be notified by phone on January 21st by your researcher if you are moving to round 2 or being released at that time. As mentioned earlier, our projects are selected by blind committee vote with no discussion among members. If you are not selected, we will not have definitive feedback as to why. If your agency is selected to move to round 2 on January 27th and 28th, because of CDC space guidelines, your presentation will be allowed only 1 presenter, accompanied by 1 AV technician. This is a major change from years past, but one we must institute. It is important that you choose a presenter that will be available to present on the charity selection dates we have provided. Your presentation, including questions, should be no more than 20 minutes. Be sure to leave enough time for questions to be answered so that the committee will be able to completely understand your funding request. Timing your presentation in advance is very important. Running out of time and having to stop abruptly is probably the biggest error made in presentations. Your presentation may be a combination of PowerPoint and video, however you can best convey your story. If you choose, additional speakers can appear on a video to further explain your mission. Do know that you don't have to create an expensive AV presentation. Your mission and project are the most important elements and can be conveyed in words only if you choose. The most thorough presentation should include your agency's mission, your proposed project, especially any implications arising from COVID-19, the critical need, and how your project will address the need. how the project's results will be measured, and finally, a detailed budget on how the funds will be used. You will be notified again by your researcher if you are moving to the final round. The final round will take place on February 4th, and you may use the same presentation for round 2 or modify as you see fit. Your researcher will again be able to answer questions through this process. The major difference between round 2 and the final round is that the audience will now include additional voting members of Crystal Charity not on the selection committee. At the end of all presentations, we will once again have a blind vote with no discussion. And after the tabulation of the vote, your researcher will contact you with the results. Finally, if you have been selected, refer to the list of instructions in the agency packet given to you at your site visit. There are some immediate requirements. In closing, we want this process to be as easy for you as possible. Do not hesitate to call or email me with any questions you may have. I am happy to help. And do know that the membership of Crystal Charity applauds your work, especially during these challenging times. Thank you for your time today.